Welcome to the Amiibo Newscast. This week's guest is me, Jared Rutledge. And here's your host, Amiibo Jason.
Hello once again, Amiibo and Nintendo fans. Welcome to the 6th episode of the Amiibo Newscast. Again, it surprises me that we've already made it to episode 6 already here. It's time is flying, and I think one of the reasons why time is flying so fast is because of what these Amiibos are doing to me mentally. I feel like as the weeks go on, I'm becoming more and more unstable, if that's appropriate to say. But here we are, episode 6 of the Amiibo Newscast. I'm excited to be here. You know me, I'm Amiibo Jason. You know me from our Twitter page, at Amiibo News, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Amiibo News, and our website, myamiibonews.com. We are joined once again by our fantastic announcer, Jared Rutledge. How you doing tonight, Jared?
Pretty good. Trying to recover from the events of yesterday, but pretty good.
The events of yesterday are still ingrained in my memory at this point. So just to give you guys a heads up of where we are right now, it is April the 3rd, 2015. It's about 11 o'clock at night, so it's pretty late. And we are still trying to get over what happened with the Wave 4 pre-orders and the surprise pre-orders that came up this morning that probably shouldn't have come up this morning. I promise you, though, we're going to get into that at some point in the evening. I think I just need to let my mind settle a bit. I'm still kind of recovering from everything that happened there. So besides the absolute craziness that happened with the pre-orders, what was your thought in this past week? We've had a cubic, I don't even know the words at this point. I was going to say a blank ton. I don't think I should say that on this podcast, but we've had a massive amount of content coming from Nintendo this past week, and I'm curious to see what you were thinking about it.
Yeah, of course, the Direct, I'm always happy with how Nintendo handles that kind of stuff, as opposed to how they've been handling other things recently.
Yeah, very true.
But yeah, Nintendo, I've been very happy with some of the stuff coming out of Nintendo.
So for those who don't know, and I can't imagine there's too many of you out there that don't know what's happened with Nintendo this past week. April 1st, April Fool's Day, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct with a massive amount of new content. A lot of that content had stuff to do directly with Amiibo, so that's perfectly in our territory. So we're going to start going over some of the more finer details of what happened on April 1st. I'm excited for it because they announced a bunch of new Amiibo. They announced Wave 5 and Wave 6. They've announced a Yoshi's Woolly World plush Amiibo that looks absolutely fantastic. They announced Splatoon Amiibos. I think the only thing that they didn't announce Amiibo-wise was where is Silver Mario. I was kind of surprised. I was expecting Silver Mario to show up there at some point.
Yeah, I've been... I was really happy with all the Amiibo announcements, and even though Silver Mario didn't show up, we still got a good bit of information out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's surprising the amount of content that came out of it. I was expecting probably half of what they announced. I think the biggest surprise of the evening was they finally decided to show their hand, quote unquote, with the Amiibo cards that they have been kind of hinting at for a while. They announced it at their last stakeholder meeting that they were working on cards. So we got a kind of a glimpse at what those were, and we're going to get into that at some point this evening too. But just an absolute massive amount of information. I don't think there could be a better time to be a Nintendo fan than right now, except I guess a Nintendo and Amiibo fan, because there's been some craziness going on there. But let's get started with the very first topic they talked about at the Nintendo Direct, and that was they showed the very first Mewtwo trailer off for Super Smash Bros. They also showed a very, very surprising Lucas trailer. Nobody had any idea this was coming. Lucas from Mother 3 showed up with his own trailer. pretty much confirming at this point that he's coming in June. But more importantly, he and Mewtwo are both going to be getting their own amiibo. What's your thought about this? You being the voice and the announcer of our show, and obviously the announcer, you imitating the announcer from Smash Brothers, I feel like you would be the best person to give us your opinion on this kind of thing.
I think that this is amazing. The fact that they said every Smash Bros. Character will get an amiibo, and that they're going through with that into the DLC characters, who hopefully there will be more of now that we have Lucas and the Smash poll online, which you should all go and do right after this.
We'll put a link up to that, by the way. Amiibo Jason for Smash Brothers, by the way. And don't forget Jared. Jared, you can be in there too.
Awesome. We'll
be a
like
tag
Rosalina
team.
And Luma, or Ice Climbers. We could be the Ice Climbers replacement.
I can dig that.
But yeah, it's great that they're continuing through with that for an amiibo for every Smash Bros. Character. I think that's a great achievement on their part.
So Mewtwo, I think is probably the most exciting amiibo that they've announced so far for me personally. I'm a big fan of Mewtwo. I've played Mewtwo a lot in previous Smash games. I think one of the big things that a lot of people are wondering is, when is Mewtwo's amiibo going to be coming? I was actually looking on Our Amiibo, which is, if you're not familiar with Our Amiibo, it's a Reddit amiibo site, pretty much a lot of news and information. It's a big community of amiibo fans. But in Australia, EB Games Australia, they already started taking pre-orders for Mewtwo and Lucas amiibo. Which is kind of sad considering that we just started getting our Wave 4 stuff here and they're already getting pretty much unannounced. Well, they're announced, but no date confirmed. They're already getting pre-orders for those kind of things. But what's your thought about like the Mewtwo amiibo? When do you think it's coming? Do you think it's going to be exclusive? God forbid. Do you think it's going to be coming sooner? Or do you think they're just going to kind of tack it on to the end?
I can't imagine that it's going to be an exclusive. I can't wrap my mind around that concept right now. I think it'll be near the end of the Smash Bros. Line, seeing as they already have it planned out, and the DLC characters are, the last to be announced in the Smash roster, obviously. I think the thing with EB Games in Australia is more of a, we're going to get these at some point.
Yeah.
This isn't like Nintendo doing this as a pre-order. This is them just being like, yeah, we're gonna get them eventually, so you have your name in for when we do get them. So,
makes sense. I kind of wish that more retailers in the States did that. The pre-order situation has been kind of crazy here, and obviously if you're listening to this podcast, you are more than likely well equipped to understand what has happened with the pre-orders that went up last night and early this morning. So again, we'll get into that. But yeah, I think Lucas is going to be huge. I'm really, really excited for a Lucas amiibo. I actually ended up going to GameStop yesterday and I got my NES pre-ordered, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping that Lucas isn't going to be another exclusive, kind of like... I'm actually still kind of shocked that NES turned out to be an exclusive to GameStop. Just not what I was expecting at all. The character that right off the bat everybody said they wanted the most, at least in the amiibo community, kind of just surprising in general that they decided at that point to make that one exclusive. I thought if anything it would be Charizard or something like that, something where people wouldn't care as much. But I'm hoping Lucas isn't going to be the same. But either way, new amiibo, I'm excited for it. I'm not going to complain in any way, shape, or form.
Even though I want to believe that it could be possible, I don't see them making the DLC characters exclusives.
I sure hope not. Nothing at this point would surprise me, to be perfectly honest.
I guess that's true.
I guess it all depends on who's willing to shell out the most money. And the fact that GameStop got NES, I wouldn't be all that shocked if they ended up getting Lucas as well. But I guess only time is going to tell on this. Hopefully by the time they end up coming out, they'll have a better system in place to distribute these amiibo, because I think the community at this point as a whole is getting a little bit tired of it. So
I hope that a few waves ago, but we just got to keep going.
So I've had that thought in my head quite a few times. Like, I guess I could just give it all up. But then I just keep seeing the orders going up and I see all the hype and I see the pictures and I see the announcements. and I just can't help myself. So I don't think I'm going to be giving this up anytime soon. I'm going to keep up with my obsession, and I'll make sure that I'm getting the alerts and the links out to anybody listening here. So don't worry about that. I'm not going to go crazy and just one day stop posting. So don't worry about that. But the other interesting piece that came from the Direct, there was obviously a lot of games. There was a lot of new information on Mario Maker, things like that. But they finally decided to unveil the Splatoon amiibos, which is very exciting in general. So a while back, there was this, I believe it was the South African webpage. They were a small store in South Africa, and they accidentally leaked 4 interesting things. They leaked Greninja. They leaked Jigglypuff. They leaked a boy and a girl amiibo figure. So we kind of knew these things were coming. But the Nintendo Direct confirmed it. We ended up seeing brand new Splatoon amiibo. So we have those coming right now too. Have you had a chance to take a look at the Splatoon amiibo?
Yeah, I did. I'm actually really psyched for those.
So we ended up getting our first wave of pre-orders for the Splatoon amiibos yesterday. Let me take a look here. Yep, here we go. So the very first people that ended up putting it up yesterday was GameStop. So if you ended up going into a store to reserve any of the Wave 4 amiibo, you also had the opportunity to reserve the Splatoon triple pack, which comes with the boy, the girl, and the squid amiibo all in one pack. It's really cool. You also had the opportunity to reserve the boy and the girl separately. So there was 3 separate packages that you could choose from. So GameStop put them up yesterday, and they sold out pretty quick. They never went online. You had to go into the store and order it with somebody. You know, they had major computer issues too. And then today at Best Buy put up the pre-orders for the Splatoon amiibos as well. The biggest thing that surprised me about the Splatoon amiibos was how quickly they sold out at Best Buy. So the triple pack sold out in about 15 minutes, which blew my mind. I thought that they would be popular, but nowhere near as popular to sell out in 15 minutes. The girl went second. I think that was about 30 minutes, and the boy ended up lasting about an hour. Does that shock you at all? I mean, I get it that they're amiibo, so they're going to sell out and they're going to be remarkably popular. But did you think that these Splatoon amiibo were going to have the same appeal?
After what the Direct showed, and that mixed with the Smash hype for amiibo and just amiibo in general, I think I kind of expected it to go that way. And I honestly believe that the Splatoon amiibo have some of the best amiibo functionality in any game that we've seen so far.
So I was looking at that, and I saw that the biggest thing in it so far is you can unlock costume pieces and weapons. The weapon thing is really interesting because, from what I understand, that the weapons that you get from that are only obtainable in like that particular amiibo, and it's customizable. Is that what you were referring to? Is like as far as like the weaponry changes?
That and the new amiibo exclusive missions that they give you,
Yeah,
for the different ones.
So the missions are going to be really neat. And Splatoon is one of these games that I've been waiting for quite a bit since they announced it last year at E3. The big thing that I'm most excited about with Splatoon, especially with a lot of the missions that are going to be coming with it, is it's a non-violent shooter. I've played so many games like Call of Duty. I've don't really play too many of those anymore. Call of Duty, why can't I think of Medal of Honor? I've played some of those, and then the Battlefield franchise. I think a lot of like old school gamers are kind of clamoring to get away from that and to move into something that's not, I don't want to say family friendly, but just more of a fun, bright environment. I'm sick of the grays. I'm sick of brown. I just want to see like colors. Like this game is fantastic when it comes to that. I mean, it just lights up the screen. What are your thoughts on the game in general now that you've had more of a chance to see it with the Direct?
I'm really excited for Splatoon. Like it's one of those games that just even though it's a newer franchise, I hope a lot of people jump on board and it becomes a Nintendo franchise, like one of the solidified ones.
Oh, for sure.
It's such a cool idea for them to be able to take a genre that they've really only had one way to go in the past and take it in a completely new direction, like what Mario Kart did for the racing genre, but with first-person shooters.
And one thing that I don't want to say I'm concerned about it because I think Splatoon is going to be remarkably popular. I remember before the DLC came out for Mario Kart 8, it was probably a couple weeks before that I tried to hop online to try to find a match, and they were kind of non-existent. So the game kind of fell off the multiplayer bandwagon online pretty quickly. When the Zelda pack came out, when the like the Hyrule pack came out, that was fixed. I mean, I jumped online that week and there was so many people on it. I mean, everybody was playing the same map and everybody was Link, but it was still fun. But I'm hoping that's not going to happen with Splatoon because I remember I picked up what was it? I picked Black Ops 2 on the Wii U when it first came out, and the online on that was practically dead. I mean, there was almost nobody on it using it, and that makes sense. I mean, I don't want to generalize, but most Nintendo players don't really want to play Call of Duty. So I can imagine that's one of the reasons why it's no longer on the console. But online was practically non-existent. So I'm genuinely hoping with Splatoon that we are going to see a very avid, active multiplayer community, because this is the kind of game that I want to just pick up, hop online, hopefully have some sort of voice chat, and just play with friends just over the internet. So should be fun.
Mm. And I feel like the Wii U has been pushing for a stronger online community with the past couple games. I mean, minus Mario Party, which, but with Smash Bros and Mario Kart, I feel like they've been pushing harder for people to play online with each other more. So I really hope, like you said, that Splatoon has a continuing online community, because that I feel would really help the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. So now that the amiibos are announced for it and we have just more gameplay footage of Splatoon, my hype levels for that game have gone up pretty much exponentially. So we should be seeing that pretty soon. Luckily, I got my Best Buy pre-order in for the big 3-pack. I struggled with that today, by the way. So you might know this, that I collect in-box every single character that I can get. So I'm going for a complete amiibo collection, which sounds absolutely insane. But that's what I'm going for. So I was having this thought this morning when I was putting in my pre-order at GameStop, or at Best Buy, excuse me. To be a complete in-box amiibo collector, do I need to buy the triple pack and each of the individual ones? Is that mandatory? So I was actually fighting with myself this morning, saying I think I have to buy both. I think I have to buy the boy separate, the girl separate, and the 3-pack. I talked myself out of it, but I'm still kind of struggling with that. So I'll put that question on to you. Do you think I should do it?
When I actually hadn't thought of it at all, but now that you bring it up, I'm gonna have to say yes. Just because, well, the game comes bundled with the squid also. So that's a separate thing in itself.
Yeah, for sure. I'm struggling with it. I really am.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put anything more on you, but I think you would have to.
At some point, I'm gonna have to get a spreadsheet, and I'm gonna have to figure out what I've paid so far for everything. I'm kind of scared to do that. Mm-hmm. I need to make sure that I'm home alone. My wife doesn't see it. And then I'll have to just bring her into the kitchen one day with my spreadsheet saying, honey, we have to talk about the amiibo finances. But I'm hoping it's not going to be too absolutely terrible. But yeah, huge hype for amiibo in Splatoon. So I'm really excited for that to come. So now that we're moving away from the Splatoon amiibo, the next very big thing that they announced amiibo-wise at the Nintendo Direct was Wave 5 and Wave 6, and sort of in addition to Wave 4. So we got a huge, absolute gigantic amount of information about the Smash Bros. Line of amiibo. So first and foremost, they announced that Jigglypuff and Greninja are coming to Wave 4. More, I think, to the point, though, they also announced that Wave 4 was getting pushed back pretty massively in the US. So the end of May instead of the end of April. So we have almost 2 full months to wait in the US for any new Smash Bros. Amiibo, which is a downer. But they did add 2 new amiibo to that. So they added Jigglypuff and Greninja to that. How do you feel about that? Like, can you believe that it's going to be a full 2 months before we get new amiibo?
Yeah, the wait's been pretty bad for the pre-orders to begin with, but then on top of that, pushing it back even more, it's kind of crazy. But I don't know, with all the new Amiibo announces, I think we'd be able to make it.
Yeah. I think the scary part for me is, so obviously with Amiibo News, we talk to people in different countries all over the world. So I think the fact that Japan and other countries are going to be getting these things on April 29th is going to kill me. To the point where I almost just want to hop on a plane, head over to Tokyo, and just pick them up a month early. But the thing for Amiibo fans is we are going to start seeing fans have these in their hands before we even have a chance to, even know what's up. So they're going to have them a full 30 days before we are going to have them. So I don't know. There's just something weird about that. I mean, I'm super happy that Japan's going to be getting them earlier, and that all the Amiibo fans over there are going to be able to get them. But there's still something weird about it to me, where I'm going to be like, why can't I have them right now?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt when Smash Bros first released for the DS.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there like, there are other people playing Smash Bros right now.
Oh yeah, it was killer. But we got it earlier on the Wii U though, so there's something to say about that. Counts. And I guess if you mention it that way too, we also did get Amiibo before anybody else did too, since we got the game earlier. So, I don't know. I'm still selfish. I think it's the American selfishness in me just wanting everything now. Like, why does the US have to wait? But yeah, they're coming the end of May. So we are going to be having all of Wave 4 coming at the end of May. They also did announce Wave 5/6. Wave 5 was the most interesting. Actually, I think this was I think it was Wave 5. It was Zero Suit Samus, Dr. Mario, and Bowser Jr., I believe. Olimar, and let's see, Ganondorf. Yeah, I think I have that right here. So I'm going to actually start over with that because I think I actually messed up when they were coming out. So July, we have Dark Pit and Lady Palutena coming out. In September, we have Olimar, we have Bowser Jr., Dr. Mario, my absolute favorite because she's my main, Zero Suit Samus, and Ganondorf coming in September. So I think that's Wave 5 and Wave 6. I guess maybe you could call it like Wave 5A and Wave 5B, but I've been calling it 5 and 6. But what's your thought about those so far? Let's see. 7 brand new Amiibo. July and September.
I think I don't want to say this, but it's going to be a pretty similar situation to what we had yesterday.
Yeah, that's going to be harsh.
I don't mean to curse people with that, but it's, I don't know, for the past few waves it's been pretty scarce trying to get some of them.
Yeah.
So
I think Palutena is going to be like unicorn status, as they call it. I think Palutena is going to be extremely difficult to come by. And she's actually one of the ones that I want the most, for sure. I guess with what we saw with Pit, because Pit was remarkably rare, I'm thinking Dark Pit's going to be in the same category too. I think Bowser Jr. is going to be common. He's going to be the common. Dr. Mario is going to be common. And Olimar, Zero Suit Samus, and Ganondorf. Ganondorf's probably going to be common too. So I don't know. I'm scared of it. We haven't even got through Wave 4 yet, and I'm already looking at how I'm going to end up pre-ordering Wave 5 and Wave 6. So God help us all. But that leaves only a few Amiibo left in the Smash Bros. Series. So I think that leaves only 5 or 6 left. I know Game & Watch needs to have one still. Falco needs one. Rob the Robot needs one.
Duck
Hunt Dog needs one. So we're approaching the end of the Smash Bros. Line, which is kind of sad in its own way.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how quickly we got through it. Obviously, by the end of the year, I think we're going to be done. I'm not sure when Mewtwo and Lucas are going to fall, but I would imagine it's going to be maybe in July. Maybe they'll tack it on to the July wave. But we're approaching the end of it, kind of like an end of an era. But it's exciting, though. We still have other Amiibo waves coming out, so it's not like it's going to be the end of the world. But either way, it's still surprising in general that we've already come this far.
It's kind of sad since Smash Bros. Is the game that started the whole Amiibo craze.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Do you have any picks on which one you're looking forward to the most in Wave 5 and Wave 6?
I really want Dr. Mario and Ganondorf. I think those two I'm going to try to get, but I don't know. I want to be able to get as many as possible, but I know it's a near impossibility at this point with the craziness.
And I think Nintendo's kind of doubled down at this point with retail exclusives. So I'm putting money on that at least a couple of these are going to be exclusive to somewhere. It's unfortunate, but it's going to happen. It's the world that we live in at this point. So I'm going to try to get myself through Wave 4. If I can make it through Wave 4, then I think we'll just start worrying about Wave 5 and Wave 6. They might find me dead, lying in bed, like suffering a heart attack from Wave 4. So I guess we'll just have to get there.
But still posting updates about Amiibos.
I'll still post updates. My corpse can do that. I think I could accomplish that if I needed to. So yeah, that was the next big thing, Wave 5 and Wave 6. We had a Xenoblade Chronicles trailer that came out, which was pretty neat. But the next really interesting thing that came from it, and this is by far my favorite part of the Direct that happened so far, or that happened in general the entire time. They announced the Yoshi's Woolly World Yarn Amiibos. God, these things are so cute. So I saw when they announced it, they just showed the green one. And then like throughout the cast, they announced that there was going to be 3 colors, a green one, a pink one, and a blue one. And my heart just was melting. I was reaching through the screen, just trying to grab this thing. It looks soft. It looks really comfortable to hold. And they're big. These things are big. There were some pictures that came out from WonderCon. Nintendo was at WonderCon. And they had these things on display. And they had them next to the Smash Bros. Series. They are big, bigger than any of the other Amiibos that were out. But what are your thoughts on this? Moving into a plush Amiibo line.
I am psyched. I am so excited. Like the second I saw those, I knew I had to get all 3 of them. And I'm especially excited because I get to go to WonderCon tomorrow and I can be the roving reporter.
Oh, that's going to be great. I'm remarkably jealous of you, by the way.
I'm still working on my costume right now, so I'm going to be up until like 2 a.m. So don't be too jealous.
You still took the time to do the podcast tonight too, so that's nice.
Oh, well, always fun, no matter what.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm so happy that they decided to go that route because when they first started talking about them, I was like, oh yeah, they're probably just going to have you use your Yoshi amiibo from a previous line or whatever, but then. No, we get these actual plushie amiibos, and I am a huge fan of Nintendo plushies, so that was the fact that they're taking like 2 of my favorite Nintendo things and putting them together is just bliss.
Yeah, and so many people were doing custom Yoshi amiibos. Essentially, they were knitting little like I guess covers for their Yoshi amiibos to make it look like this. So fans wanted this. So I'm very happy Nintendo listened. They went this route with this, and I think that these are going to be 3 of the most popular amiibos to date. I'll tell you my fear. My fear is going to be green Yoshi is exclusive to Walmart, pink Yoshi is exclusive to GameStop, and blue Yoshi is exclusive to Target. If that happens, I might legit have a heart attack. It would be nice if they came out with a 3-pack like they did with Splatoon. Or if they just, were readily available. But I'm very, very much looking forward to this.
Man, if they made all 3 of them exclusive, that I don't know what I'd do at that point.
Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it, to be honest. But
either way, they're amazing.
So. They really are. What do you think their functionality is going to be? As far as like the NFC chip in it, do you think that it's the exact same one that's in the other Yoshi amiibos that are out right now, or do you think that this one's going to be specific like to this game? I'm wondering if I can use this one in Smash Brothers.
I'm pretty sure you'd be able to because so far it seems like the same character can have the functionality of that character in the other games, but they're just aesthetically different. But I feel like. If you're buying it for that game, you want to buy it for that game. So I think you would be able to use it in Smash Bros. If you wanted.
So they said that this amiibo specifically, that if you tapped it on the screen, that they would add like another Yoshi to the game. They said it was called Double Yoshi. That would essentially, I think it would just like add like a second or a third like Yoshi coming on your screen. So it looks like it's going to have some functionality to it. But I'm wondering if I can. It would be kind of nice if other people just had like the Yoshi amiibo from Smash Brothers or the Super Mario Brothers series, if they could just tap that on there and get the same perk. Um, Either way, though, I'm going to buy this. This is Nintendo's first certified triple dip, I think, with Amiibo figures, because we have Amiibo Yoshi from Smash, Amiibo Yoshi from Mario Party, and then third in Yoshi's Woolly World. So I'm not even mad. I thought I would be. I thought by the time we were triple dipping into Amiibos that I would be upset about it, but I just can't be. This thing is way too cute.
I'm going to call it right now that they haven't announced all the amiibo functionality for Yoshi's Woolly World because they wouldn't make a new line of amiibo for the game unless it had to have a read and what's it called?
The read and write.
The read and write function. So if it was like a Mario Kart kind of thing where you would just tap it in and then have another Yoshi, I think they would have just let you use your other Yoshi, but there's got to be something else for them to have to make a whole new line of Yoshi amiibo.
I hope so. I mean, I'm not saying that I have anything negative to say about what they announced so far about the amiibo functionality for this game. It's a little light. It kind of reminds me of the Kirby and the Rainbow Curse functionality that DDD, Meta Knight, and Kirby had. So I'm hoping for something a little bit more as well. But either way, even if it did nothing, even if I tapped it in and it just like a sound effect played, I'd still buy it. They're way too adorable. Somebody on Reddit pointed out today too that there's like little loops on the back of it, so it looks like you can hang it up like on your car's windshield, like rear view mirror. But yeah, I'm gonna have so much fun with this thing.
I have to buy all three of them. I don't know how, because stock is probably gonna be pretty low, but yeah. I'm gonna go for it.
Oh man, cross your fingers on this one. I think just the cute factor alone, I think they're going to mass produce the heck out of this one. So
I hope so.
Me too. Did they announce a date on that one? Do you know? Do you remember when they said this one was coming out? I thought it was later this summer. It could be fall. I'm trying to remember when Woolly World comes out.
I think it might have been fall.
I'm gonna look this up. Let's see. We're going to fast forward, I'm sure, on the podcast until I find this.
It is in the fall.
It's in fall?
Mm-hmm.
That's sad. I was hoping for like June. Yep, available this fall. Oh, man. I'll just have to wait for you. And you get to see him. You get to see him tomorrow, though. I'm so jealous.
Oh, I just... Every event that Nintendo has something set up, it gets me more excited for the stuff that I'm already excited for.
Yeah. They know how to drive a hype train. They're very, very good at providing like massive heaps of hype. That's one of the best things Nintendo is able to do. So you're lucky that you get to experience it. I'm excited I get to experience it through you via pictures.
Oh, and I'm glad Yoshi's Woolly World still exists, because at this point, before the Direct, I was actually thinking like, what if they cancel Woolly World and then we just have a Smash Bros. Stage for a game that never happened?
Oh, man. I think that would be a riot.
Well, it's gone through so many changes, and there was so little information on it that I was a little worried for it. But yeah. I mean, I'm glad it's still here because it looks amazing. So,
all right, guys, coming this fall. It's going to be by far my favorite series of Amiibo so far. I'm such a big softie. I have a 2-year-old daughter who loves anything soft too, so I can't wait for her to pick up like one of the Yoshi Amiibo and play with that thing too. It's going to be very cute. So, photo ops galore for sure. But moving away from cuddly, fuzzy Amiibos and moving into thin, jagged Amiibos, Nintendo finally unveiled the ever so popular, I'm kind of joking when I say ever so popular, Amiibo Card series. They announced it for the new Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer game that's coming out this fall on 3DS. But here they are. Amiibo cards. And I'm not even upset about it. I think this is the perfect game that you'd want to bring Amiibo cards to. What was your thought when you heard that the cards were finally coming?
I was really happy because this is the same kind of functionality that I hoped that they would have. Because when they first talked about Amiibo cards, they talked about them mostly as like a supplement for the figurines, and I really didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Because I wanted them to, you know, actually make more figurines there if there was lacking in a certain department of them. But
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're making the cards their own thing instead of trying to replace the figures with them.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. I mean, for a game like Animal Crossing, it would not make sense to make that many Amiibo. I think at some point we're going to see a dedicated Animal Crossing line, like with some of the like more popular characters like Isabelle, Tom Nook. But one interesting thing on this, when you look at the pictures from the promotional material, there's a small number at the very top of the card showing what number it is in the series. And the highest one that they showed off was 95. So there's going to be a lot of these Amiibo cards. And chances are, if I had to guess, they're probably going to be coming blind. So they're going to be coming in standard booster packs, if I had to guess. So this is just going to add another level of insanity for people that want to collect everything in the Amiibo series. I think I might have to draw the line on cards, though. I might not do that. I'm going to end up doing it, but...
I've always been a huge card collector, so I'm probably going to get all of them.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to, but the collector in me will get to me eventually and force me to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Animal Crossing is one of those series, again, that has a very, very special place in my heart. I played Animal Crossing since GameCube. It was the first game that I played with my wife that we both really got into, and she still plays New Leaf on her 3DS. That was one of the very few games that she likes that we can play together that is just fun for both of us. So I foresee myself picking up like one of my old Pokemon binders in the basement, taking all the Pokemon cards out and starting over. So... But yeah, the Animal Crossing cards are coming. Each one of the cards is going to invite a villager into your town or into your home, and that villager is going to bring like a piece of furniture or some like home improvement things for you to like spruce up your house. So this isn't like a full-fledged Animal Crossing game. It's more of like a home designer like kind of experience. So how do you feel about that? I was kind of hoping for like a full, like brand new Animal Crossing adventure where I could like tap the card in and then the villager comes and hangs out with me.
Is the Happy Home Designer logo on the cards?
Let's see. I don't see it.
Okay. Then if they're just Animal Crossing specific cards, I think soon after Happy Home Designer releases, we'll get an announcement for the Wii U version. And they'll reuse these cards.
So let's mark this. It's 11:26 p.m., 4/3/2015. Jared has predicted, a full Wii U version of an Animal Crossing game that these cards would be compatible on?
Yes.
So here's the thing. If this is right, and you're correct about this, I'm totally coming back to this episode, pulling this clip, and I'm going to be putting it in the next cast that we do after they announce this. So I'm hoping you're right. I want an Animal Crossing game on Wii U. It was exciting when they had like the Animal Crossing Plaza game on the Wii U. Just to see all the characters in HD was really, really neat. I remember I spent like 45 minutes like searching for my villager, like my favorite one, and I couldn't find him anywhere, and then he was like hiding behind a tree. But
oh yeah, and that's another thing. They have all of the characters rendered in HD.
So it's ready to go?
Yeah, they're ready. They're ready to make an They have to be making an Animal Crossing for Wii U right now, because since this isn't a full Animal Crossing game, it's just sort of a mini game of sorts. I don't want to call it a mini game because it is a game.
Yeah, it's more.
And I'm looking forward to it.
More.
But I really think because I just got New Leaf today. Actually, I played it a lot. I played it a lot, but. The thing that always stopped me from buying it was they're going to announce the Wii U version. They're going to announce the Wii U version, and I never did. But I gave in after they announced Happy Home Designer, and I think they're going to announce it soon, though.
Did you get it through Club Nintendo, by the way?
I did. It was my last Club Nintendo reward.
God, heartbreaking, right?
It was when when I read the message at the bottom and it was like, "Thank you for being a part of Club Nintendo," I got a little choked up.
So right next to me right now, to my left is my Mario cap from the very first year of Club Nintendo.
Hmm.
To my right is my statue with all of the Mario characters on it. I think that was from year 2. I could be mistaken. That might have been year 3, but I think it was year 2. I have my Luigi's Mansion figure diorama from Club Nintendo. I have all of my like limited edition CDs on the shelf next to me. So Club Nintendo going away. I know we kind of shifted topics, but Club Nintendo going away is a tad heartbreaking for me. I don't know. There's something just strange about it. I know they're going to be announcing something else, but it's truly the end of an era. When Club Nintendo first came out, the very first year, that was the first year that I moved out on my own, and I really got into Nintendo collecting. So it's sad, but I'm happy it happened. So many other companies wouldn't have let this go on as long as it did, because I know it must not have been remarkably profitable for Nintendo to do. I'm happy that they let it last as many years as it did. Just so many good memories just getting up to platinum status.
Yeah, oh man, it just and how nice they were about it too. Like everything you ordered from Club Nintendo, they would ship it to you for free and it would get there really fast. Like
Yeah.
any other company that, they give you something for free, they'll take as long as they want to send it to you. But
Yeah.
Nintendo was always on top of it.
Rip Club Nintendo. Oh, all right, back on track, I
R.I.P.
guess.
in peace.
Sorry about derailing that with just me reminiscing about Club Nintendo. So how do we transition back into the cards now? It's sad. So that's it with Animal Crossing cards. What do you think's next? I think it's inevitably going to be Pokemon. At least that's my guess.
Oh yeah. Pokemon is already an established card franchise. If all they do is just slip an NFC chip into each card and send them out the way they are and just have people reuse the cards that they're already buying in Pokemon, it works perfectly. And the fact that the new 3DS has NFC built into it, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of Amiibo Pokemon in the near future.
Yeah. And one of the other interesting things, too, is because you mentioned that the new 3DS has the NFC built into it. So for standard 3DS users, they finally announced a release date or a release window for the standalone NFC reader that's coming out for the standard 3DS. It's a little bulky. I can't imagine that I'd want to carry that thing around, but, for some people, that's nice. But that's going to be coming out the very same day that the new Animal Crossing comes out and the Amiibo cards come out. There wasn't like a firm date, but they just said it was coming in fall. So that's one less thing to worry about, I guess, as well.
Me personally, I'm planning on getting a new 3DS soon because, I don't know, it wraps everything that I need from Amiibo into one. Instead of having to, buy a whole new accessory, carry it around. It's just simple.
And the new 3DS is fantastic. If you haven't had a chance to try it yet, the face tracking 3D is a delight to use. That sounds kind of corny, but it really is. It works in the dark. It works when I'm moving. I have yet to get a headache. I've yet to have eye strain. So the 3D that they built into this thing is honestly fantastic. It's such a massive upgrade from the other 3DS that I have no idea if I could ever go back and play in 3D on the other systems. So that's like the highest praise that I can give this thing. And I got the Majora's Mask version, which I'm a massive Zelda fan, so I'm ecstatic about that too. So, but if you're listening and you were on the fence about a new 3DS, in my opinion, yes, it is very much worth it. The 3D is fantastic. The battery life is great. It doesn't have interchangeable faceplates, which is sad, but besides that, it's an awesome unit. And then the next piece, and this is the last piece of Amiibo-based news, and then we're going to get into the unpleasantness that happened over the past 2 days with pre-orders. The next bit was for Mario Kart 8. They announced new Mii costumes coming out for Mega Man, Sonic, Pac-Man, and Captain Olimar. I might have missed one, but I think those were it.
Rosalina.
Rosalina has one too? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So new tracksuits are coming. I never used the tracksuits, by the way, in Mario Kart 8. Have you had a chance to try it?
I always unlocked them whenever I got an amiibo that was compatible with it.
Yeah.
I haven't used them, but oh man, after seeing the Pac-Man one, I might have to.
Yeah, the Pac-Man one, like the helmet had like the moving little Pac-Man like
Ah.
mouth on it, which was super neat. Um, so I'm excited about the Pac-Man one for sure. The Mega Man one I didn't get a great look at, but it looks pretty neat too. But yeah, for sure, I think Pac-Man's going to be the one to use for this one. But I'm
Yeah,
hoping the fact that Captain Olimar has an unlockable tracksuit, I'm hoping that's going to mean that maybe he'll be easier to find. I doubt it though. I mean, Captain Falcon has a tracksuit too, and he's not easy to find. Is he?
yeah.
But yeah, new.
Well, and Rosalina has one.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, supposedly we're getting another Rosalina amiibo at some point too for Wave 2 of the Mario Brothers line, but I'm surprised
oh
that
yeah, true.
that wasn't announced. That
Yeah.
that was the one piece of amiibo news I was fully expecting. I was not expecting any of the other craziness that happened, but I was expecting Wave 2 of the Mario Brothers line. But I'm
I think
not complaining.
I think they're still writing up the explanation for why Spike has an amiibo. So they're trying to perfect that before they announce anything.
Great. Spike would be a cool amiibo. I wonder how big that thing would be though. I mean, he's pretty considerably bigger than the rest of the gang, so
Mhm.
I never unlocked him in the game yet, by the way. How do you unlock him?
Toad's room. It's right under the Mario Party.
Yeah.
Because you have Bowser Party, Mario Party. Right under Mario Party, it says Toad's room, and you can go in there and buy Toadette and Spike, and then you
Okay.
can also buy the new difficulty for the AI.
I'll have to try that out. Sure. So the other piece that they announced for Mario Kart, again, this isn't really amiibo related. They announced a new mode, which is remarkably exciting, and they announced the arrival of the Animal Crossing DLC. So the Animal Crossing DLC we'll talk about first. They announced that that's going to be coming much earlier than anticipated. So they moved it up to April 23rd, which is okay by me. It was initially supposed to be the end of May, so that got pushed up a month. We have the female villager, and they have why can't I think of her name right now?
Isabel?
Isabel. Dude, it's been a long week. And Isabel is playable. They showed off some of the courses. What's your thought about that? The second DLC pack coming to Mario Kart.
I'm really excited. Like I was one of the people who bought both of them at the same time because
Oh yeah, me too.
I I was a little surprised that they only showed off the one course instead of showing us a little bit of each, but it's
Yeah.
understandable because they did that with the last one where they, took the time where every week they'd announce a new course and things like that. But yeah, I'm really excited. And the fact that Villager is going to have multiple costumes, I think is
Yeah.
great.
I'm hoping that this is going to pave the way for Mario Kart to transition into Nintendo Kart. I think at
Yes.
E3 we're going to see more support, more DLC characters coming to Mario Kart. Mario Kart and Smash Bros are the two games that you could put DLC out for like 2 years and nobody would get sick of it. And I think that we're going to start seeing that with Smash Bros. Especially now that they've announced that you could, nominate someone to be a character in Smash Brothers. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do that with Mario Kart as well. So I'm anticipating more DLC packs to come out for that too. And the second piece that they announced was they have 200cc mode finally making its way into Mario Kart. And I say finally like I was anticipating it, and I really wasn't. It's one of those modes that after I saw it, I just kind of thought that I've always wanted it. I'm remarkably excited for 200cc mode. After watching there was a 60 frames per second trailer that came out showing it off. That thing looks like so much fun. It's going to add a whole new level to Mario Kart. I think it's going to bring a whole new community of people online. 200cc mode is going to be the way I play it. So I am very, very much looking forward to that. Are you a big Mario Kart fan in general?
I actually was a Mario Kart world record holder at one point.
Oh my God, we have to talk about this. All right, tell us your story.
At the beginning of Mario Kart 8, I got it near the beginning of its life.
Yeah.
For a little while, I was the world record holder for the fastest time on Rainbow Road.
on Rainbow Road. That's nuts.
I obviously have been beat out at this point.
Yeah.
I did win an official Mario Kart tournament that Nintendo put on though. It was for
Nice.
the Play Nintendo Tour, so that was a lot of fun.
Dude, that's great. Did you get like a what did you win for that?
I got a Kirby plushie,
Nice.
a poster of Mario Kart, a Luigi plushie, and a certificate signed by Mario himself.
Mario himself. The voice of Mario himself, or like just Mario?
No, like Mario.
Dude,
It was signed Mario. It was interesting.
see, that's one of the things that I would get framed and I would put in my office and I would tell my kids about one day, saying, "And Mario signed it. You can see his signature right here." That's gonna be one of those things that you're always gonna have like fond memories looking back on. I've never been good enough at any game to be the best at anything. I'm lucky to be the best in my household. And honestly, I think that record could probably be taken over too. So that's awesome, though. I had no idea that you were a record holder. How long did that record stand on Wii U?
It was there for a few weeks, and then I got beat by this Japanese kid, and
Yeah.
then after that, a whole bunch of people figured out new shortcuts that
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude,
So for a little while, I was at the top.
I hope you got a picture of that at least at some point.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I mean, we got off topic again there too, but still, that I had to hear about that. That's all. That is like, I feel like I'm talking to a Mario Kart celebrity right now. But yeah, Mario Kart 8 is getting this whole new plethora of content. Smash Brothers is getting new content. I think 2015 is truly going to be the year for Nintendo. I'm excited in general for everything that Nintendo's put out in this Nintendo Direct, from all the new Amiibo to all the new games to all the new DLC and information for everything coming out later this year. I guess it's time to move into the unpleasant part then. So, because the Nintendo Direct filled me with so much happiness, I think Nintendo had to kind of bring me down this week at some point just to kind of even me out a bit. So let's get started on the most wanted subject. When I put out the tweet today that we were doing this newscast, the most wanted piece of information that our community wanted was what do we think about the botched Wave 4 pre-orders? So let's get into that. So first and foremost, we'll start with the first batch of pre-orders that went up, and that was at Best Buy. Best Buy put Wave 4 pre-orders up yesterday, and actually that was probably the best handled out of all of them. The site didn't crash. Nothing really terrible happened in general. I mean, they went fast, but that's not Best Buy's fault. But I think Best Buy handled it well.
That and the pre-orders actually did go up online.
Yeah, they were actually there, which was great.
GameStop.
Yeah, we'll get to them. We had.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
No, it's fine. It's hard to not talk about that. The second was Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff actually might have been first, now that I think about it, but Jigglypuff went up on Target.com. This one was a bit of a surprise. There was really no indication when it was going to be going up. There was a placeholder page that was up for a bit, so people had their page alerts set to it. Jigglypuff went up and I think sold out in 6 minutes. Might have been sooner. I was lucky with Jigglypuff because I got the link out to our followers about 35 seconds after it went out, so that was exciting. But that sold out in like 6 minutes. Again, the site didn't crash. Target really didn't do anything to make people mad, so I have no problem with the way Target handled it. The next piece is GameStop. And I'm not even all that upset with GameStop in general. I think things happened that were slightly out of their control. So
Yeah.
GameStop announced on April 1st that they were going to be opening up pre-orders in store and online at 2 o'clock. I think Central Time. It was 2 o'clock Central Time. They said that they were getting NES exclusively and that they were going to be putting other Wave 4 Amiibo up for pre-order. So when you put out an announcement like that, the first thing that you should expect is that every single person that is obsessed with Amiibo, which is a lot of people, is going to be on your website like at 150 and refreshing it like a mother. Like they're going to do it over and over and over again. And that's what happened. So we had hundreds, if not thousands of people, and I'm going to say it was thousands of people refreshing their page at once. Their in-store internal system went down, and people were waiting for hours and hours at a time trying to get their pre-orders in for Wave 4 and NES at the store. I'll give you a bit of a personal story before I get your opinion on this. So my wife was nice enough to take my 2-year-old daughter to GameStop. She got there around 1:50. To wait in line. We thought it would be like 15 minutes and she would be in and out. She ended up waiting for, I think, over 2 hours and 15 minutes. And she was 11th in line. And after 2 hours, only one person got their pre-orders put in. Which is, yeah, it's insane. So at that point, she called me and I'm like, just go. It's fine. You did your best. You stuck it out longer than I could ever imagine. So that's fine. But yeah, so from what I understand, GameStop's internal network went down. They had to take it offline a few times to try to fix it. But most importantly, there was just people waiting in line for hours trying to get these things. I think on the other side of it, GameStop.com crashed. It was down for about 15 to 20 minutes. I think it might have even been longer than that. But people were still anticipating that the Amiibo were going to show up on .com, and they just never did. So they sold out of all of their Wave 4, all of their NES in store. They ran out of their allotment and they decided not to put them up on .com. So we had hundreds and hundreds of angry people taking to Twitter, taking to Facebook, taking to like social media on GameStop's side, just berating them, saying, why did you do this to us? You told us it would be up and they weren't. Just not handled the best way. I know you didn't get to see it like firsthand yesterday because I know you were trying to avoid it to some extent. But what was your thoughts about GameStop's handling of Wave 4?
I don't know if people should necessarily be upset at GameStop because of what happened. The only thing that I can really understand people being upset at them for is getting NES as an exclusive and then not anticipating what happened.
Yeah.
Because if you do something like that and then you're one of the first people to put up pre-orders, or not put up pre-orders because they didn't put up pre-orders after they said they would.
At least claim to put up pre-orders, yeah.
Yeah. That's another thing, is not even releasing a statement saying we're not going to put up pre-orders because of the massive amounts of traffic.
Yeah.
I think there are a few things that they could have done to handle it better that they didn't, that could have saved them a lot of hate. It is what it is, so...
One piece of information that was very, very consistent from my followers that were tweeting about their experiences in line. One piece of information that was consistent was the GameStop employees at the store were fantastic. They were very nice. They were apologetic. They had no idea what was going on in a lot of the respects too. You can't blame them for what happened. I don't think I received any emails or tweets in any fashion saying that any associate was rude, or in general it was handled inappropriately from the employee or the associate side. So hats off to the GameStop employees that were handling this in general. I think they must have done a great job in general. GameStop released a statement to their employees this morning. It was an audio statement that I got a chance to listen to, saying how sorry they were about how it happened, that they should have been more prepared. But still really no statement to the fans waiting in the store or the fans waiting at home refreshing. So I'm still a little concerned about how that went down a little bit too. You would think that at some point GameStop would have done something to say, this is what happened, this is what's happening in the future, because they still haven't come out officially and said that they're not putting them on the website. They've been really, really vague about it. So hopefully we're going to start seeing something new from that soon too.
Do you think we'll see them go up on the website at some point?
I think we will. I would be pretty surprised if we don't see them at some point. They might have run out of their initial allotment now, but hopefully Nintendo is going to be providing more. I mean, obviously, if these things are selling out in a matter of minutes, because when Wave 3 went up, those pre-orders were live for a long time. I got a DDD pre-ordered in store 2 weeks after like the fact that the pre-orders went up. So the fact that Wave 4 sold out in a matter of minutes, you'd think Nintendo at that point would say, okay, let's get you more. So hopefully that's going to happen. And when that happens, I'm hoping that we're going to see something from GameStop.
I think this whole thing is just a domino effect upon itself because there's not enough Amiibo supply, the people who want them feel like they have to pre-order them even further ahead.
Yeah.
So then the pre-orders get crazier, there's less Amiibo, and it just tumbles upon itself. So I really hope that it ends up getting better in the next couple waves. But...
Yeah. And we obviously have a pretty bad scalper problem too. And Nintendo isn't necessarily helping that in any way, shape, or form with the exclusivity of these things. I mean, it's you can blame them. You can. And it's very easy because it's not fun going on eBay and seeing like 200 Greninjas showing up when I had not had a chance to even get one for myself. It's a terrible feeling. But to a certain extent, I mean, these people are making a lot of money, so why wouldn't they be doing this? Again, I don't appreciate that they're doing it, but I can see in their mindset, I'm going to make all this money from this. I'm going to do it. So Nintendo really needs to approach how they're dealing with this, because the fact that I might have to go online and pay $50 for a Greninja is kind of killing me inside. I've yet to pay more than retail for an Amiibo, so it's going to be kind of bittersweet if that ends up happening. I am going to try to wait in line for Greninja at some point when the in-store pre-orders go up. But either way, it still kind of leaves a bitter taste in my mouth in general. That leads us to the last pre-order debacle that happened. That's with Toys R Us. So Toys R Us came out and they talked with the website Polygon saying that Greninja was coming out exclusively to Toys R Us, and that Wave 4 pre-orders were coming too. They gave them a time window of between 7 and 9 o'clock Eastern time, AM, that they would be up this morning. So myself and hundreds of other people, we set our alarm nice and early this morning. I set my alarm for 5 o'clock to get up and start refreshing the page, getting ready to, try to get my Greninja and any other Wave 4 amiibo. I ended up waking up around 4 in the morning, and I ended up looking at my phone, and I saw that pre-orders had gone up and were already sold out. It looks like they went up around 3 o'clock a.m., my time, Central Time, and they sold out about 3:30. Turns out it looks like somebody had leaked the links onto Reddit. So I have no idea how it happened, but somebody somehow got a copy of like all the links that were going to be put up by Toys R Us. They put it on Reddit, and Reddit had a field day with it. And you can't blame them. I mean, it's ecstatic. I mean, if somebody posts a link and said it's up, I would do it. So no pre-orders this morning from Toys R Us at all. Well, technically it did happen this morning, but no pre-orders when they said it would be. Greninja sold out like absolutely crazy fast, and there was probably hundreds of people tweeting at me this morning saying what the heck happened. So this was the very first like exclusive amiibo that I missed out on, and a lot of other people missed out on, and it was just unfortunate in general. Have you heard anything about the Toys R Us debacle?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are really upset about the way it happened because it's getting to a point where it's almost not possible. Like even if you try as hard as you possibly can, it's getting to a point where it's that slim of a possibility to get certain ones.
Yeah. It's becoming less fun for me. I think that's the hardest part that I'm beginning to realize. So when I started Amiibo News, I started it more or less as a hobby. I wanted to do something fun. I really love Nintendo. I heard about Amiibo and I thought it would be really neat to do. When we first started, we did more like painting and we just talked general like Amiibo news. As it progressed, we started getting more into like sharing links with our fans because they wanted to know when these things went up. So it's turning into less of a hobby and more of like a full-time job. And in no way am I complaining. I love it. I love the fact that Amiibo News got as big as it did. But it takes a bit of the fun out of it knowing that I went to bed last night And because I chose to sleep instead of refreshing a page, that I missed out on an exclusive amiibo. So it's sad on one part, and it's just frustrating on the other part, knowing how quick these things are going and knowing that Nintendo isn't really doing anything to change it. Other countries don't seem to be running into this issue. Australia seems to have no issues with pre-orders. The UK has a dedicated Nintendo site for pre-orders. Japan always seems to have plenty of stock. So I feel like the issue has to be somewhere in Nintendo of America, which is, it's hard for me to say. But either way, it's frustrating, and I'm hoping with Wave 5 and Wave 6, most of these kinks will have been worked out. But I think I kind of ended it on a downer. We should have talked about that first. But yeah, that was the debacle of Wave 4 pre-orders. We still have Amazon that we're waiting for. We still have Target that we're waiting for. And we still have Walmart that we're waiting for. So we still have hope, guys. We still have hope. Do you have any closing thoughts on the pre-order issues?
Just, I don't know. I don't feel like it was really your fault for sleeping, because I mean you even set your alarm to before the time that they
oh
gave.
Yeah, for sure. 2 hours beforehand, I thought that would be enough.
But nope. So yeah, it's been an interesting day of pre-orders. I honestly, the second I started seeing how it was happening, I opted out for this one.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to try to mess with this one, because I had a feeling that it was headed south.
The only way to win is not to play. I think that's the way to look at it. But
not that I don't want to, though.
No, I know the feeling.
I love Amiibo.
I have no choice at this point. So instead of ending this evening on a downer, why don't we go into the segment that we've been doing for the past couple weeks that we have been calling the
Amiibo News Speed Round.
Every week when we do our podcast, we ask our fans on Twitter to tweet out what questions they want us to answer. So Jared and myself are going to be doing the best that we can to answer some of your questions, and we'll go from there. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Question number 1. What advice do you have for people that want to find pre-orders? I'll start on that one real quick, and I'll let you answer it. Follow a tracker. Amiibo News is obviously the one that I'll tell you to follow. We try to get links out as fast as we can, and in many cases, we get them out 30 seconds to a minute after they go up. We very, very rarely miss anything unless they put them up at 3 a.m. without telling anybody. That's one option. The other option is if they're offering pre-orders in store, get there early, wait in line. Getting a physical receipt from somebody at a store is probably your best bet at like guaranteeing yourself an amiibo. So number 1, follow us. Number 2, get to the store early.
I can't say more than what was just said, because there's a reason I followed Amiibo News to begin with. So.
All right. Number 2. I'll let you answer this one first.
Sure.
What would you like to see an amiibo do in game, like in a perfect world? If you could have any amiibo serve any function in any game, what would it be?
Smash Bros. I love the amiibo functionality in Smash Bros. If they could carry something similar to that to all the other new games that are coming out, I think it could be amazing.
For me, it would be a Pokemon trading card game with NFC in it. I mean, endgame. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. I collected Pokemon cards as a kid. This would be like the best way for me to like introduce my daughter into like the world of Pokemon and Pokemon cards. So that would be great for me. All right. What do you think the likelihood of the exclusive amiibos that came out, like the Greninja, the Ness, and the Jigglypuff, showing up in stores when they release? Or do you think that it was online only?
I think if they show up in stores, they'll be there for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, it's not too much hope for that one, I don't think.
So every exclusive that I've gone to, minus Rosalina, has been like that. With Lucario, when he came out, he was gone way before I got there. I got there about 25 minutes early, and there was already people in line that claimed every one that they had. So Rosalina was one of the rare ones because I got there and there was a blizzard going on in my state, so nobody else but me showed up. But I got there and I got it, so it worked out in my favor. So there's that. So yeah, they're going to sell out quick. So I think they're going to be in stores, but they're going to sell out very, very fast. Mm-hmm. Do you think GameStop has learned their lesson with pre-orders, and do you think their issues will be fixed next time?
I think they have. It was a mix of a lot of different things that hopefully will be better next time. Yeah. But if they're not, I don't know what's going to happen.
All right, and let's answer one more. Importing options. Somebody's wondering what their options are for importing Amiibo. I think a lot of people are getting frustrated in general because they can't get them in the US. I looked online this evening because I saw this question pop up, and I'm going to spend just a couple more seconds on this one than I normally do. I was looking at importing all 6 of the Wave 4 from Japan, and right now it's averaging about $150 to do that. In the grand scheme of things, that's like $25 an Amiibo with free shipping. So it's not outrageous. It's not something that I would recommend that you would do unless you have no choice and you really, really want them. But I think at this point, a NES Amiibo from the US is going on eBay for like $60. And the same thing with Lucina and Robin. So importing might not necessarily be the worst idea. I would wait until we see what the stock levels are going to be like in store for Wave 4 before you decide to go the importing route. But if you are going to import, there are some good sellers on eBay that offer importing. Just look at their history. Play Asia is pretty good. Yes, Asia is pretty good. Several options there. And then obviously Amazon's fantastic with that kind of thing. Just make sure that you opt for the more expensive shipping, especially if you're coming from the UK. Because I think the free or the super cheap shipping from the UK doesn't offer tracking, and that's never good when it's coming from another country. So,
yeah, I'd only suggest it if it's an Amiibo that you absolutely have no other way of getting. And I'm not trying to put that in a way like, oh, importing is bad, but just. I don't know. I feel like you should try to get it a different way before you turn to importing, because there could be easier ways to get it.
Yeah, and these things are supposed to be $13 a piece. That's what they're supposed to be. Spending more money on it, it's a shame. And in fact, anybody that has to spend more money on an Amiibo they really want, I see that as a failure from the supplier's point of view. People shouldn't be forced to go to other countries to take their supply. People shouldn't be forced to go onto eBay and pay scalper prices on rare Amiibo. It's something I sincerely hope changes. I know Nintendo's probably making a killing on this, and I know that the fact that these are so rare just helps build the hype for Amiibo in general. But hopefully somebody will come to their senses at some point, and this will kind of fizzle out like the absolute insanity that Amiibo has become. But that's it.
I know Nintendo's not trying to disappoint people with the supply of Amiibo. It's just they like certain things to be exclusive. That's always how Nintendo's been. But it's just gotten a little bit out of hand.
And it makes sense from a collector's point of view too. If I could walk into any store and pick up a Marth or a Wii Fit trainer, it wouldn't have the same. I don't know. It wouldn't have the same feel. Like if it didn't have the rare factor, the fact that I can look at it right now knowing that I got it, yes, finally. It's the same with like Pokemon cards and things like that. Not every kid can get a Charizard. But the kids that do get a Charizard are super, super happy. It's just we have a major supply and demand problem. I'm not saying that they need to make everyone super easy to get, but it should be a little bit easier than this. So here's hoping, at least. Here's hoping. But that's it for the speed round tonight, and that ends our newscast for the night. This was probably the longest one we've done because we had just such a massive amount of content to cover this evening. Jared, by all means, take over and tell us where we can find you, how we can, let's say, get your services for your fantastic voice work.
Oh, thank you. Well, if you want to contact me or have any voiceover work done, you can send me a Twitter message or follow me at Jared_Rutledge, or email me at jaredrutt@gmail.com. Sorry, I messed it up.
That's fine.
But yeah, it's always an honor to be on here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you again for everything you do for being our announcer. We have so many really awesome comments that come on our Twitter feed about how much they like the announcer on our newscast. So it's really awesome that you're part of the show. We're going to have you on more and more, I'm sure. So thank you for being here for sure. Again, anybody listening now, if you want to find us, we are on Twitter primarily. That's twitter.com/Amiibo News. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Amiibo News. Our website is myamiibonews.com. If you are listening on Saturday, which is actually now because the clock just rolled over, but if you're listening on April 4th, check out our Twitter feed later in the day. We are giving away a Ness Amiibo on our page. So you can check that out and you can register to win. We're going to be shipping that out when we get him in May. So if you want to get a shot at an Ness Amiibo, by all means, come and find us on Twitter. But so thank you again, Jared, for coming on the show. Honestly, we really appreciate it. We're going to be back next week with episode 7. Hopefully talk about how fantastic the Amazon pre-orders went, because nothing is possibly going to go wrong with it. It's going to go great. But tune in next week. We'll have another guest on, and we'll talk everything Amiibo and Nintendo. Have a good night, everybody.